Welcome to this series of Holy Week monologues. Each day what we're going to do is look at a passage from the Bible and then listen to a short monologue loosely based around the reading that we've just heard. I've written these to try and make us think about the emotions that Jesus instilled in the religious community and especially in the temple-based leaders of that community. The idea behind these is to put aside the judgment and to recognise that none of us like change. That we would all like the things to remain comfortable and not be required to leave the safety of the church lifestyle that we've become accustomed to. As you listen to the monologue, I invite you to place yourself into the voice that you hear, to listen to your emotions and to see what you feel about each of the responses. Monday through to Thursday are kind of monologues from a young priest who's recently been called to work in the temple. And they all focus around the idea that the temple was a place that maintained order, stopping chaos from being unleashed into the world. Friday is a poem that I've written called Darkness and the Veil. And Saturday is a eulogy for the funeral of Jesus. I hope that these series will cause you to think about your faith and to reflect on where we are as a church community. I'd love to hear your comments, so feel free to comment on anything that you hear or any thoughts that you have. Take care. Matthew 26, 1 to 16. Anointed for burial. When Jesus finished saying these things, he told his disciples, "You know that Passover comes in 2 days. That's when the Son of Man will be betrayed and handed over for crucifixion." At that very moment, the party of high priests and religious leaders was meeting in the chamber of the chief priest named Caiaphas, conspiring to seize Jesus by stealth and kill him. They agreed that it should not be done during Passover week. "We don't want a riot on our hands," they said. When Jesus was at Bethany, the guest of Simon the leper, a woman came up to him as he was eating dinner and anointed him with a bottle of very expensive perfume. When the disciples saw what was happening, they were furious. "That's criminal. This could have been sold for a lot and the money handed out to the poor." When Jesus realized what was going on, he intervened. "Why are you giving this woman a hard time? She has just done something wonderfully significant for me. You will have the poor with you every day for the rest of your lives, but not me. When she poured this perfume on my body, what she really did was anoint me for burial. You can be sure that wherever in the whole world the message is preached, what she has just done is going to be remembered and admired." That is when one of the 12, the one named Judas Iscariot, went to the cabal of high priests and said, "What will you give me if I hand him over to you?" They settled on 30 silver pieces. He began looking for just the right moment to hand him over. Well, tonight was the night that things moved in our favour. All this talk of the best time to dispose of this heretic, all the wrangling and debate, all seems nonsense now. It looks like he's being delivered to us on a plate. If you would pardon the obvious reference to that other northern upstart, John. Seems like his own people have finally had enough of his pretentious ideology. Let me explain. Catch you up with the comings and goings. You see, things are moving at a pace now, changing day by day, hour by hour. My head's spinning. I don't think I can keep up. So we thought that we'd made a decision. I know that it's unlike us. When we get together, we could debate for weeks and not come up with any conclusive action. But we were all in agreement that this week was not a good time to be risking unrest in the populace. Too much at stake. He's gathered quite a following. Well, when you promise people hope, no matter how unrealistic or unlikely that hope is, people want to believe. They are simple people, you see, not educated like you and I. They are unaware of the finer points of the political landscape. Don't understand that actions have consequences. So we thought it best to avoid the week of Pesach. Tricky time of year. Lots of history behind that one. Well, when you talk about liberation from one oppressive regime, when you're in the middle of an occupied land, you are just asking for trouble. Unless you play it safe, of course. Know how to handle it. Keep it religious and historical. Don't link it to the here and now. We have been handling it for years. Enjoy the party, the festivities, celebrate the past. No point in drawing parallels. Too much to be lost. So we had decided, not this week. Clear? Everyone saw that it was for the best. This man's passion couldn't last. His empty promises of equality, of unity, of love are just pipe dreams in a world that operates as ours does. Like I said before, wheels must be oiled and palms must be greased. I put this case forward to the others and everyone agreed. We have seen so many idealistic young men come and go. They either disappear or they conform. It's the way of the world. We city folk know what we are talking about, and then it all changed with one of his own. Seems that his ideologies are not so pure, this man from Nazareth. When it comes down to it, we are all the same beneath our outward garments. Not so different when we get beneath the skin. His passion for social action fell apart when offered expensive perfume and the finer things of life. Some woman poured the stuff all over him and he simply allowed it. Where was his ideology then? Where was his concern for the poor at that moment? Enjoying the attention of a woman with fine-smelling cologne. Nice enough if you can get it, I suppose, but hardly plays to the socialist agenda. Apparently, he then spoke about anointing for burial. I have to admit, when the chap told us he'd said that, I felt a little uncomfortable. If only he'd known what we were talking about not 10 minutes before he arrived. But he couldn't have known. Could he? Could he? This disciple was easily persuaded to hand him over. A simple offer of short-term wealth turns the hardest of hearts. And as they say, every man has his price. For one it's silver, for another fine perfume. They are not that different. It's nearly time. We shall soon be free of the upstart. Status quo will be resumed. And the chaos unleashed in the temple will be replaced once more with order. God's house where he dwells at peace once more. That's how the world works. That's how chaos is kept at bay. This is God's house. This is where he dwells.